Ready? Are we on? Okay. How come once it's winter, it seems to be dark? This only happens in winter. I, notice that the light is so dark. The house is so dark. All right. Okay, we pay respect to our teacher. 南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛. That means we seeking refuge, paying respect to our fundamental teacher, the Buddha. And the Sutra opening Gata, the Dhamma infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. Welcome, everybody. We have some friends. And this is Raymond. He's from Hong Kong. And the shaman at the back with the long hair, his wife also from Hong Kong. And there's Bruce on the chair behind Terry. He's from Chilliwack. I guess, right? Yeah, okay. And I think Gary you saw being introduced already. Have you?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been just to the one.
Okay, this is Gary. Gary now lives in Chilliwack. I think he's from the East Coast, right?
Sort of.
Sort of.
In the middle of everything.
In the middle of everything, like us, Okay, so welcome to this Tuesday Dhamma sharing. So we are still on. Oh, Laurie, if you would like to sit back on one of those chairs, more comfortable, is up to you. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we're still on this wonderful sutra. It's called the Sutra of the 42 chapters. All right. So it's the first. They thought, a lot of scholars thought that was the one of the first actually literature, Buddhist literature, that actually traveled to China from India. So together with other two literatures, they made a very famous introduction to what the Buddha taught. And in this sutra is actually all verse, like very simple verses, very simple lines, but they carry a very, very deep meanings. That's why it takes us ages to come to now. And plus the fact that I'm always away. It takes us to chapter 14 now. And chapter 14 talks about virtue and greatness. The greatness about this sutra is the lines are simple. You can actually have a superficial understanding of the superficial meaning, or you can really dig into it and have a deeper meaning of what the lines are. It's really up to us and, how much we want to dig in. So I try to stick to the middle path, okay? Not too deep, not too superficial, but just enough for us to, understand the meanings, okay? So each chapter actually talks about how we cultivate and what kind of cultivation and what are the results and all that. So remember, we actually talk about in one of the chapters, there are 20 difficulties as a human being. Yeah, 20 difficulties in pursuing a spiritual life or in pursuing a proper life, a proper way to live. There are 20 difficulties, all right? So now we are on, I think we was on chapter 11 or 12, chapter 10, or chapter 13, 12, 11, I think. Okay, now it's chapter 14. It's talking about virtue and greatness. A Shramana, that means a practitioner, asked the Buddha, what is virtue? What is greatness? And the Buddha said, to practice the way and abide by the truth is virtue. When your will is one with the way, that is greatness. So if you want to just understand the superficial meaning of these lines, you can understand it so easy, But In order to really understand it more, we need to really understand the back meanings of all these words. So, what does he mean by virtue? He means his meaning of virtue is really not the superficial meaning of the word. Okay, it carries a lot of meanings in it. So the virtue is to practice the way. So, what is the way? Dhamma. What is Dhamma? The truth. Very good, Versha. The truth. What what is the truth? What is the truth? Somebody said something? The way things are. How are the how what is the way the things are? Everything is impermanent. Very good. Great. Good. So everything is impermanent. That is very important. So the way is the truth, and the first thing about what is the truth is everything is impermanent. Oops, I can't do this. Okay. Oh, so let us skip that part two, all right? And then let us look at this. So there are three marks of all conditions phenomena. Is human existence a conditioned existence?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Why?
All the conditions weren't together. All the conditions didn't come together properly.
What is the basic conditions? What do you think is the first condition that actually make you
We're always changing.
all right? But what the conditions that make you who you are?
Past experiences.
Your past. Don't talk about that. What is the first condition that makes you to become a human being? Great. Yeah. Wow, okay. Yeah. A sperm and an egg, right? And a sperm and an egg come together with the right conditions in the mother's womb. It well, he or she grows. That's the first condition. And of course, before that, of course, there's your karma. There's the cause and effect that brings you to such parents. And for you to be born, there are a whole bunch of conditions for you to be born as a healthy baby. And for you to be brought up as a healthy child, a happy child, or whether you're happy or not, doesn't matter. But a healthy child to be like you, what you are right now, there's so many conditions that have been affecting you that actually have to come into place before you can exist the way you are right now. And even now, we are sitting here. There's so many conditions that actually have to come together before we can actually sit here. Right? Can you mention just a few? Oh, that's very good, Nora. The car has to start. She was locked out. Or locked in? Locked out. At work. Yeah, yeah. She said, oh, too fancy. Right? Yeah, the car has to start. And there should be a road to Polam, right? Yeah, that's one of the conditions that you are brought here, okay? And are all these conditions permanent? Is is there anything in this world that is permanent? Permanently existing? No?
I think impermanence is permanent.
That is that the only truth? Is that the only thing that is permanent, you think?
I can think of.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. The only permanent thing is impermanence. Yeah, and I think this is easily understand. Anicca, that means impermanent. Impermanent means is not permanently existing. Impermanent also means is ever changing. Impermanent also carries a meaning or carries a notion that it's not always as you expected. Can you say that? It's not always as you expected. All right. So impermanent actually entails a big, big scope of meanings. All right. So the first, the first mark of all conditions phenomena, including us, ourselves, this human existence, and also outside in the universe, also here, anime, all conditioned phenomena, all conditions existence is impermanent. And then the second is anything that is impermanent could cause a lot of dukkha. And dukkha, you know what does that mean? Dissatisfaction, sufferings, miseries, unhappiness, right? So why would you think that, well, impermanent, if I accept impermanency, then I wouldn't have dukkha. Yeah, hopefully. But it doesn't always work out, right? Maybe 9 out of 10 times that we won't accept impermanence and we want it to be permanent, right? But at least once out of 10 times, you would start to accept impermanence. And 2 out of 10 times, you start to accept impermanence. You start to accept these changes. So your mind start to build up this stamina. Your mind start to build up this strength and this awareness. Yes, this is what I experience while I meditate. It's impermanent. It's ever changing. And that's the same in the world. That's the same with my relationships. That's the same with everything, with my job, with everything. So why do I sit here and mumble and groan and complain and be angry? Why? So you start to realize, you start to come back to this experience and use that past experience to teach yourself how to come out of it and how to transcend yourself, how to change and correct yourself. Yeah. So dukkha is not just suffering the way people always think that, oh, Buddhist teachings are too pessimistic. They always talk about sufferings. It's so pessimistic. No, this world is so fun. We don't have to cry all the time, right? No, it's not pessimistic at all because this is the truth that's happening right now, right here, every moment in our life. Is this because it's impermanent? If we do not accept impermanent, then there will be dukkha. Yeah. Okay. There will be dissatisfaction. You see, look, Norris was still laughing, was still smiling when she walked in. I said, "Hey, what happened to you?" Oh, my car locked me out. You know, that's the way it is, right? Okay. Otherwise, you will be crying all the time. And then the third one is anatta. Anatta, that means selfless or non-self or not self. Actually, there are many synonyms, right? Synonyms. This word is so difficult to pronounce. Synonyms like definitions, similar definition about anatta. That means selfless or um, the existence, relying on conditions, and because it is really um, it is really out of our own control a lot of times. Okay, and we should try to give up controlling except when you know that we are trying to punch somebody. It's, oh, sister said we should not try to control ourselves. You should, at that time you should be aware, and once you become aware, you know that that fist was going out, and you become aware. Oh, like my friend in the prison, oh, yeah, take a deep breath, So you release the fist a little and take another deep breath. You release the fist a little. That means, okay, you will be able to master over your own reactive pattern, your reactive behavior. That's the most important. All right. So of course, these are the three marks. And after we actually understand this through our own experience, and also not just understanding, we start to see this truth. Eventually, we will be able to reach a state where we call complete extinction of our afflictions. No more worries, free will, free as the wind. And we call that Nibbana, right? And Nibbana is so far away that, don't think about it, all right? At least not this lifetime, all right? Okay. But it is possible because we have seen other, in the past, our past teachers, the Buddha, they have reached Nibbana. They have reached that state where all these afflictions, all the pollutants of the mind, are all completely removed and they become free. Okay, and so the way is the truth is we have to start seeing the truth pertaining to these three factors. Okay, so in the Samyutta Nikaya, therefore he said, abiding by the truth, that is actually virtue. And abiding by the truth is not abiding by what we see in the outside world or what we see in the inside existence. What we see, we already have perceived. Once there is perception, there could be illusion, delusion, judgment, right? And once there is judgment, delusion, illusion, there will be dukkha. Good. Wow, you're getting very good. Very good. Yeah, there will be dukkha. When there is dukkha, you will likely to start to react. If your mind is not strong and grounded, you will very likely to start to react. When you start to react, you will start to what? Multiply your afflictions. Like the cabbage, starting from a few layers, become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Rather than you peeling off, peeling off, peeling off, peeling off, peeling off. Okay? So it's either this way or either this way. Yeah? So it's really up to us. So abiding by the truth is we just want to see it the way it is. But is it so easy? Really so difficult, isn't it? It's really so difficult. But you know what? You should be very grateful if somebody, try to actually push you to the corners. Because once people push you to the corners or situation push you to the corner, you just have to come back. When you come back, you know that old way doesn't work. And you need to find a new way. Because you've been pushed to the corner. And next, you don't want people to push you to the corner next time. That means you need to find a new way. You need to develop a new mentality. You need to actually use that experience to change your way of behavior or your attitude or whatever. Okay? So the people who push you to the corners, you should be grateful. Remember that. You should be very, very grateful. And if you don't want to pay respect to them on your knees, at least go and say that like this. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I appreciate you pushing me to the corners. If you cannot do that, at least in your mind, in your heart, you don't have any hatred, ill will, animosity towards them. All right? Hopefully, eventually you'll be able to bow to them. I'm so happy because you push me to the corner. You make me become a new being. Oh, so happy. So grateful. You have eventually you'll find that they are really your teachers. They are really your teachers. All right. So, so this is, he said, the way is the truth, and abide by the truth is virtue. Why do you think that abide by the truth is virtue? Why would you think that? No? No idea?
Well, you behave correctly if you
Yeah.
act the right way or think the right way.
Yeah. You behave correctly, you think correctly, and so you put your life in a different way. Yeah. Rather than in the old way, the way you are. And the way, remember what did the Buddha say? What is the way? What is the path? The practice what of what?
Eightfold Body.
Great teacher. The Eightfold Noble Path, remember. The way, that's the way, right? The path, the right thought, the right view, the right livelihood, the right speech, the right actions, the right samadhi, the right mindfulness, and also the right career. Yeah? Have I mentioned 8 already? Have you counted? Yeah, 8 already. You see? So remember, the path is the way. And the way, when you put yourself constantly back onto the path, you gradually develop all these good qualities. You eventually or gradually become a virtuous person, right? So that's why he said, abide by the truth is virtue. And so in the Samyutta Nikaya, he said, sorry, the words are too small. I want to put that all in it. He said, monk's form is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. And what is suffering is non self. I have been thinking about this for a long, long time. What is suffering is non self. You have any idea of what does it mean?
Suffering has nothing to do with you.
If one is suffering, and that is not your true self. Because the true self, if there is this true self, that means there is this true Buddha nature in it. And the truth, Buddha nature, has no suffering. Yeah?
Suffering's a reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. From
You're
the sufferings,
from your wrong view.
from the suffering is the reaction from the wrong views of this being. And this being is not you. This being is not the Buddha nature of this you. It's a complicated notion here. I think until we get to become Buddha, then we will understand. All right. For now, it's just this words. All right. Okay. So and what is non-self should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom, right? So that explains. Yeah. And he said, this is not mine, this I'm not, this is not myself. So just like giving, you're giving things to people as an act of generosity, okay? And people think, oh, I have given you so much money. Yeah, I've given you such a big donation. You see, when people say that, is there self in that saying already? Is there a mind in that mind in that saying? I have given a big donation to you. My money.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And is there somebody receiving that donation? Yeah. So that fulfilled that three things about generosity, about the truth of generosity. Is you become generous, you are generous, but you don't think that you are generous. You don't feel that, oh, I have given out something. Or then you won't go on saying that there is somebody who has received my gift. And if you're constantly doing that, then that means you have this self in you, because I'm giving mine. Hey, remember that movie called The Little Fish? Nemo. Is it Nemo? Yeah, Nemo, the pelican.
Yes.
Mine, mine, mine. Right? Is that the pelican? Yeah. Thank you, Laurie. Yeah, the pelican saying, mine, mine, mine. Why did he say that?
All the pelicans from the tribe in the water trying to grab the
The Nemo. Oh, yeah. And that big one say, oh, this is mine, mine, mine. You see, this me, I, mine is so big in our mind that causes us so much illusion and delusion and afflictions. Okay? So I love these movies. I love these kind of movies. It's so great. Mine, mine, mine. All right? So he said, when one ceases with correct wisdom, the mind becomes dispassionate and is liberated from the taints by non clinging. I want to share a story with you. You know that I teach in China every year, right? Twice a year. And there was a student many years ago, almost like the first year, second year, third year, he comes. He used to come to meditate with me and to come to join the retreat. He was a good meditator. He could be very calm and very focused, but eventually he he faded away. So I asked some of my students what happened to him, and they told me. He said he was so afraid. He was so afraid that he would become dispassionate with all his passion, that he didn't want to. He wanted to have a wife, he wanted to have sex, he wanted to have good food, he wanted to have seafood, he wanted to have all these, and he wanted to have fun. So he said, no, the way I'm going to continue to meditate, I will have to give up all this. And he think that he has to intentionally give it up, and it creates such a big fear. So he rather gave it up once and for all and forget completely about meditation. And he never came to my meditation retreat anymore. So that's karma. That's his merits, right? So sad. It's sad, but what can you do, right? So because people are sometimes are very scared of what they have in their life, they don't want to give up. That's why this non-self and not self and selfless theme in the Buddhist teaching is so scary in the West, because in the West people identify themselves so much with themselves, and it's so scary to have no identity, isn't it? So fearful that I have no identity.
They identify with everything, their possessions, their careers.
The career, fame, money, women, wives, whatever, even clothes and everything, right? Because they are so scared. So, that's why this non-self and this no self, this teaching scares a lot of people off. He said, so who am I? Why am I standing here? Why am I sitting here? I'm nobody? Oh, yes, you are somebody. You've got a name. Yeah, you're somebody, but it's just that you know that you are all conditioned. Even our existence now is depends so much on other people sustaining us. Farmers have to grow the food, right? Somebody have to mill the wheat, have to bring the rice for us, to make the noodles for us, right? Somebody has to build a gas line for us. Somebody has to build a stove for us. It's all, we are so dependent on others. So all those are conditions that actually make our existence the way our existence is right now. Okay? So by being liberated, it is steady. By being steady, it is content. And by being content, he is not agitated. He personally attains nibbana. And that's why by walking on the path or the way is the truth, and by abiding on the truth, by abiding the truth, one has virtue. That's the whole thing in this Nikaya, in this Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 22. If you want to look it up, okay. So, and he said, when your will is one with the way, that is greatness. And I don't think this word greatness can actually exemplify the greatness that is in this greatness. Okay, and he said, when our will is one with the way, that is greatness. One will is always, we always have an intention of myself in a will, in this will. Yesterday, Eva went to pick me up at Bellingham, coming back from San Francisco. She asked me a question. She said, she asked me a very strange question. What did you ask? So strange that I don't know how to answer.
If you're always connected with him.
Yeah, if you're always connected with your intention when you go to do things like teaching meditation, I said, how can I answer you? I guess I am. I guess I am. Otherwise, I won't be teaching the way I teach, right? And I won't be going to San Francisco to teach, and I won't be like doing the things I did while I was in San Francisco if I'm not connected to that wholesome intention that I once started thinking I need to go to San Francisco, because there is a wholesome intention in there. And then when I was there, I think I needed to be connected to that intention. Otherwise, I won't be teaching wholeheartedly. I was just, oh, so, giving Dhamma talk, okay, whatever, or teaching meditation, or whatever. I won't use my heart as much. All right. So I think I am constantly connected to my intention. Thank you. All right. So when the Buddha talked about this aspect, he actually gave a very wonderful simile uh, about this path and this self thing. And of course, when you are connected with, he said, when your will is one with the way, that means your will is not the one in with the self. If your will is with the self, then it will become a selfish way. Then it will not be great, right? So he said, when your will is one with the way, it will be great. And the way is, we know, the noble path. And the Buddha actually taught actually about how we are so stubbornly attached to this self, why we are so stubbornly attached to this self. And he said, how can we actually start to understand more about this self? And we always say the self, this existence, me, mine, I, is made up of two parts. One part is the physical part, right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. Okay. This physical part. Okay, the physical part we all know is made up with all the four elements, right? The fire, the earth, the wind, and the water. Okay. So that's the physical part. And then the mental part is six.
Oh, it's not six.
Four.
For what?
Sanya, Vedana, Sankara. There's 30. There's one.
One more. What is perception? Perception is sanya, right? Okay. And what is reacting? Sankara. So what is feeling? Vedana. Yeah. And what's the last one? What is consciousness? Vijnana. Yeah. So the four parts, the four aggregates, right? Yeah. The four aggregates. Remember the mental part? No. So when I go away, could you please study the four aggregates again, or the five aggregates? The five aggregates. Yeah. Please study the five aggregates again when I go away next time. So you have homework. All right. So the Buddha said, we are so stubbornly attached to this self here because we don't understand the nature of the aggregates. And he gave a beautiful simile about the aggregates. And it's in this book. All right. It's page 343. All right. But I'm going to tell you what he said in this. It's in the Samyutta Nikaya, okay, in chapter 22. All right. And he said, this is where he actually was residing. He says, suppose that this river Ganges was carrying along a great lump of foam. And a great lump of foam. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, that means looking at it, thinking about it, and carefully investigate it. I did not put the whole paragraph down, all right? And it would appear to him to be void here, hollow, insubstantial. And he said, for what substance could there be in a lump of foam? He said, so to monks, whatever kind of form there is, form, that means this body, physical existence, a form. This is a form, this is a form, and this is a form, this is a form, and here also is a form. And he said, so to monks, whatever kind of form there is, whether past, future, or present, internal, external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a monk inspects it, ponders it, and carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. So, for what substance could there be in a form? He gives this simile, comparing a lump of foam to a form, to this existence, physical existence. Is the lump of foam permanent? Is the lump of foam conditioned? What does it make up of? Glue. But what about like flowing out from the river of Ganges? Definitely got air,
What,
earth,
water?
water, maybe some seaweeds or water weeds, maybe some creatures. Yeah, little bugs, like water bugs, inside. And the foam may have a lot of fishes, like cracks. It may not be like round. It could be all really rugged, rough, right? And may have a lot of holes where a lot of creatures hide themselves. And eventually, you start to look at this foam. Eventually, the way it flows, will it break? Eventually, will it disappear from the river? That's he means the same with this body. We're getting old, so our bones are getting all these holes, all these cracks, all these cracking. You don't even need to get old to have cracking joints. People crack their joints all the time. And and when we die, what do we have? Maybe a handful of ash, or maybe 2 pounds of ash. If you don't cremate, at the end of 10 years, they go and collect your bones. You still have some bones there. And they pound them and put them back into the crematorium. Eventually, you become ash, 2 pounds of ash. And you spread it into the soil. You become bone meal. This is where bone meal comes from. Dead bodies, animal bodies. We could be bone meal, go back to the earth. So who are you in this form? A bunch of conditions. Isn't it beautiful? It is, right? So let us look at this Vedana feeling. Yeah, the form. He says, suppose monks that in the autumn, when it is raining and big raindrops are falling, a water bubble arises and bursts on the surface of the water. A man with good eyesight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a water bubble? And he said, monks too, whatever kind of feeling there is, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether this is in the past, future, or present, internal, external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a monk should inspect it, ponders, carefully investigate, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a feeling? Remember that story about a king, a princess, asking the king, I need a garland. And the king said, oh, dear daughter, what kind of garland do you would like? The king would think that his daughter would like a garland with roses, a garland with whatever, flowers, or even gems or jewels, right? But the princess, what did the princess want? I have talked about this story before. Don't tell me that I had never told this story. Huh? Raindrops, yeah. Raindrops. You're good. Oh, hi. Thank you. You heard that story before. Okay. All right. No argument. All right. I've told many stories, too many stories. Okay. Raindrops. And the king said, wow, raindrops. Okay. You people, all these big people in the kingdom, in the country, you go and do a garland with raindrops for my dear daughter. Otherwise, I'm going to kill all these prisoners in the prison. Nobody dare. Nobody dare. Why? Because they knew it's impossible to make a garland with raindrops. But there was a very, very smart and clever man. He knocked onto this door and he said, King, King, I would be able to do a garland for your daughter, but your daughter has to come with me. And he said, Sure, dear daughter, go with this smart man. He's going to make you a garland. And this man brought the little girl to the pond, lotus pond, and said, Dear princess, please pick out the raindrops, pick out that bubble, and give it to me so that I could make a garland for you. Can she do that? It's impossible, right? It's impossible because once you pick up the bubble, it bursts. It doesn't exist anymore. What exists after the bubble is just a little bit of water and air. So that's the feeling part. He said, that's the truth pertaining to our feeling. All right? And feeling arises dependent on the sense space, on our senses. Feeling arises depending on an object that we perceive through our eyes, through our ears, through all these sense doors, through this body, the touch, all right? And the eyes, the ears, I hear, I feel. I see, I feel. I smell, I feel. I taste, I feel. And I think, and I feel. But these are all fake, all impermanent. So, so remember, feeling is compared to a water bubble. So don't hold on to your feelings for too long, all right? Okay. And the third one, he said, oh, sorry, did I repeat? All right. Perception. Perception is sanya. Sanya, he said the same thing. In the last month of a hot season, at high noon, a shimmering mirage appears. It's so obvious in Canada because the road are so wide, and and we have so much space in between each car. We can, just on Prairie Central Road. But in Hong Kong, it's very difficult because car and car, they all lined up, right? You cannot, it's very hard to see a mirage because highways are always constantly packed, all right? But here, even not on a very hot day, sometimes you can see a mirage. And a man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate. And how does he compare this mirage? He said, so monks, whatever kind of perception there is, a monk should inspect and ponder and carefully investigate, because it would appear to him as hollow, void, insubstantial. And for what substance could there be in a perception? A mirage is just an illusion on the road. You see that mirage. Once, if you walk towards that mirage, can you still see that mirage? Can you touch it? Can you use it? Can you swim in it? Because a mirage could be huge. It's like a pond, isn't it? And you go and try to drink from it, you cannot. You could try to touch it, you cannot. You want to swim in it, you cannot, even though it appears to be a big pond on the road. So he compares that, he tells you that perception is just like a mirage. It comes, it goes, and it's not permanent. Okay? So there is actually nothing in this perception. But because we are so stubbornly clinging to that, yes, this is true, this is what I see, and this is what I hear, and this is what I feel, because of this wrong perception. Okay? It's actually very difficult to really perceive. No? Not at all? No? Okay, good. Good. All right. So volition formations, what is that? That is a reaction, sankhara. Yeah. So he says the same thing. Suppose a monk needing heartwood, not hardwood, heartwood. He goes into the forest, he takes his sharp axe and enter a forest. Then he would see the trunk of a large banana tree, straight, fresh, without a fruit but core. He would cut it down at the root, cut off the crown, and unroll the coil. As he unrolls the coil, he would not even find soft wood, let alone hard wood. A man with good sight would inspect it, ponder it, and carefully investigate, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, and insubstantial. And he says, so monks, what kind of volitions, formations there are, whether it's the past, future, present, internal, external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a monk should inspect, ponder, carefully investigate. As he investigates, they appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in volitional formations? When you start to look at your own reactions, your own reactive pattern, you start to peel it off, like you peel off a banana tree. And eventually you get to the deep part of the banana tree. There's nothing in it. Because once you start to peel off, you start to remove this self little by little, little by little, this clinging, little by little, little by little. Then at the end, it's just like in the banana tree, there's nothing in there, not even a fiber. The different layers of sheath, you roll it off, you roll it off. Inside, you go and look at the banana tree in Poland. There is one. There are a few there. Once you look into it, it's hollow, nothing in there. It's so pretty. Yeah. So he said our volitional formations are just exactly like the banana tree. And all these layers that means the reactions that we actually continuously behaving, like reactive pattern. It it adds on, adds on, adds on. But deep down, there's nothing. All right. And he said that appear to be void, hollow, and substantial, insubstantial. So the last aggregate, he said, consciousness, a magician would display a magical, or a magician apprentice would display a magical illusion at a crossroad. A man with good sight would inspect the magician, ponder, and carefully investigate, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in a magical illusion? He said that's the same with our consciousness. So we all have seen people performing magic, and it's just a real illusion, isn't it? Like this, real illusion. There's nothing truth. There's no truth in there, and there's no substance in there, nothing. And he said that is comparable, analogous to consciousness, because we think what we see is so real, what we hear is so real, because we never understand, we never try to peel off this mind, this we so-called self. When we start to peel it off, when we start to see all these conditions that bring our existence together, and we know eventually, really, there is no true existence of this self. Yeah? Beautiful, beautiful simile. And try to read this in here. So he said, the instructed noble disciple becomes disenchanted with form, disenchanted with feeling, disenchanted with perception, disenchanted with volitional formation, and disenchanted with consciousness. Then you will say, disenchanted with my form? That means I can hurt myself? I can kill myself? No, it doesn't mean like that. It means that we should not cling onto it. And disenchanted with consciousness, that means what I see, I don't believe. What I hear, I don't believe. Does it mean that? No. Why not?
You can cling to bliss,
You can cling to bliss. Yes.
attached to it.
Attached to bliss, even to bliss. Yes. So he said, you try to actually detach yourself. You try to see why there is bliss. What is bliss eventually? What is bliss? You can actually peel off bliss too. Because bliss is also conditioned. Yeah? Suffering is conditioned. So is bliss conditioned. Whether in the past or in the future. Okay? So, and he said, destroyed is birth. The spiritual life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming back to any state of being. That means the true liberation at the end. If you really start to experience and start to really penetrate into these truths through your own experience, not just on the theoretical basis, but through your own experience. Okay, so next time when you meditate for a long retreat, when you have so much sankhara coming up, reactive pattern, don't start to hate yourself. You say, ha ha, great chance for me to. What is sankhara comparing to? Analogous to? What did he give a simile of sankhara? Banana tree. Yeah. Oh, see, I have big, huge banana trees here. Now let me peel it off bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we have to do is we study, but we have to use it. All right. So chapter 14 over. Good. It's not in the. Bye. Are you going to go? 5 more minutes. Terry, take a deep breath. Stay here.
5 more minutes, bud? Oh, he said, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So upcoming events, September 25th is work day. That means this coming Sunday. And 30th, the Polam CCH choir concert. Anybody who hasn't got a ticket, please go and support them. November 6th, there is the 1 day M&M, mindfulness meditation in Cantonese, here in Polam. And one more request from the Sangha is we have a lot of workers coming up on site to work again. So we need snacks, please. Snack time. And if anybody who would like to give this dana of making snack and you enjoy baking or, making anything for them, please talk to Linda or Eva. All right? Okay. So let us dedicate our merits. We bring our attention back to this body. Feeling this body constantly changing, constantly changing. The mind is constantly changing. With this understanding, we allow this good thought to arise on our mind for all the benefits that I gather from hearing the words of the Buddha. May I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of amity. May they be free of misery. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience love and peace. May they be happy and be peaceful. And may more and more people would encounter the words of the Buddha, to study, to practice, and to liberate themselves from their own difficulties, dissatisfactions, sufferings, dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. Okay. Good night. Have a good week. Safe ride back, Terry. See you next time.
In 2 weeks, hopefully.
Okay, see you next time.
Thank you.
Buddy. Oh, you cannot bring things back to the place.